Hi, it's Chris from Driver Training Limited, and in today's video we're going to talk about something that worries a lot of people, and that is case studies on the ADI Part 1 theory test. Now this is good practice because not only is it going to help you pass the ADI Part 1, it's going to help you understand what your students are going through for their driving theory test when they come to you for lessons. So basically, case studies are just scenario-based questions. They're designed to assess your understanding of driving theory, not just the memory of facts. They simulate real-life events that we're going to encounter on the road and just ask you to apply your knowledge in that context. Now, basically, what it does, it gives you this scenario, but all you need to do is break it down into the relevant parts. What do we mean? Well, let's have a look. You're given a short story or scenario, usually about a journey or a driving situation. So as an example, you're planning a long motorway journey on a hot summer's day. You're taking your elderly grandmother and her dog with you. You're then going to answer 5 multiple choice questions based on that scenario. So it will be things that are along the lines of, when driving on a motorway, what should we do? If you're driving on a hot summer's day, how could that affect your tyres and tyre pressures? So it's all to do with things that are in there. The main topics that it covers are things like the hazard perception and risk. So for instance, tiredness on long journeys, vehicle checks and preparations, rules of the road, environmental considerations, and driver attitude and responsibility. So if you've been driving for a while on a motorway and you start to feel tired, what should you do? So let's give you some examples in a second of what they are. But the reason these matter, they test whether you can think like a driver or a driving instructor. Not just what the rules are, but how and when to apply them. So the DVSA introduced these to reflect real-world decision making, and they get the drivers, be it trainee instructors, be it learner drivers, to engage more deeply with safe, responsible driving, because you've got to put yourself in the situation and then think, how does this apply? So a couple of tips for success: don't rush the scenarios. Read the whole thing carefully before you answer. Think about what you would really do in that situation, and your answers need to be based on the highway code, driving the essential skills, your training so far, and sometimes, just common sense. So, scenario number 1, you're driving along a narrow country lane in late autumn. The road is wet and covered in fallen leaves, and you're on your way to pick up a friend from a farm cottage, and you're unfamiliar with the area. Visibility is reduced due to mist, and the road has high hedgerows on either side. To question 1. Why should you reduce your speed on this type of road? Is it to avoid disturbing wildlife? No. Is it to prevent leaves from clogging your tyres? Not really, no. Is it to keep your fuel consumption low? No. So the obvious one is to allow more time to react to hidden hazards, is it? It is indeed. So you're just thinking, if you're on a country road, it's wet, it's misty, why are you going slower? Because there might be an unforeseen hazard ahead. Question 2. What is the main hazard when driving near high hedgerows? Is it they can cause your mirrors to become misaligned? Do they reduce visibility at junction and bends? Is it they often contain road signs? Or do they increase glare from headlights? Well, no, when we're driving near high hedgerows, we know that's going to reduce our visibility at junctions and bends. What should you do if you approach a tight bend with no view ahead? So you've got a tight bend, you can't see at all. Should you maintain speed but sound your horn? Should you slow down and keep well to the left in case something comes the other way? Should you drive in the middle of the road for a better view? Or should you flash your headlights as a warning? Well, realistically, the most important of all of those is to slow down and keep well to the left, because you don't know what's going to come the other way and how quickly. And especially if it's a tractor, especially if it's a milk lorry, you want to give it as much room as you can and as much chance to react to you as you can. What's the safest way to navigate an unfamiliar country roads? Is it to follow the vehicle ahead closely? Is it to keep your speed high to avoid losing control? Is it to use your sat-nav only and ignore the road signs? Or is it to drive cautiously and look for warning signs? Well, we know just as drivers, if it's an unfamiliar country road and we're not sure of it, we're going to drive cautiously and look for warning signs. What should you check when parking near a farm entrance? That your car is not blocking access, that your hazard lights are flashing, that you park facing downhill, or that your sat-nav says you've arrived. Well, if you think we're parking near a farm entrance, you'd want to make sure that your car is not blocking any access. So now here's one specific for the ADI Part 1. What are the legal responsibilities of a driver? So here's the scenario. A pupil plans to practice in their parents' car. They have provisional insurance, but aren't sure if their parents need to meet any legal conditions. So what's a legal requirement for supervising a learner? Should the supervising driver be at least 18? Should they have held a full UK licence for at least 3 years? Must they be insured as a learner? Is it that they must have passed the recent eyesight test? Well, the answer to this is to be a supervising driver. One of the legal requirements is you have to have held a full UK licence for at least 3 years. What must be in place for private practice? Should you have to have vehicle breakdown cover? Do you need a GPS tracker? Do you need valid learner insurance? Or do you need a full service history? Well, you have to make sure before they get taken out that the person has got the required learner insurance, because sometimes insurance policies might be something like anybody over the age of 25 can drive your car. Doesn't mean your 17-year-old son or daughter can, so you need to make sure that you've got the valid insurance for them to drive. And that, of course, is our answer. Question 3, why is it important that the supervisor understands their role? Is it because they're legally responsible for the vehicle's condition? Is it because the supervising driver must provide constructive feedback? Is it that they may need to operate the dual controls? Is it that they must ensure safety and intervene if necessary? So what would you say on that? Now, most people make the mistake of going for they may need to operate the dual controls. But remember, the question is, they're having private practice, or the scenario is they're having private practice. So the chances are they haven't got dual controls. It would be nice if they provided constructive feedback, but very often, taking private practice, those who are supervising drivers aren't that sure of the road rules or can't remember them themselves. So the actual answer is D. That they must understand they need to ensure the safety of the vehicle and the people and intervene if necessary. You are aware you may need to yank the handbrake up or say stop if you see them going wrong. Are you aware of that? Now, for some people, that's a bit too much of a risk, so they wouldn't do it. But they need to understand what's required of them before they go out with the learner driver. Question 4. What must the car display whilst the learner is driving? Does the supervising driver have to display their birth certificate? The fact they've got a supervisor's license? The L plates front and back? Or do they have to display their insurance policy? Well, the answer for that is any learner needs to have L plates front and back. And then when mom, dad, or whoever the supervising driver is goes to drive, those L plates need to be taken off. So that's just 2 quick scenarios of what a case study is. So hopefully you can see it's not as daunting as it may seem. And if we take our time, we get to know the general rules of the road anyway, then suddenly these case studies aren't really so daunting, but are actually quite easy.